Oh, sorry.
We can go up to.
Hello, welcome to Millennial Made. My name is Rod. I am here with, some would say, one of my close friends. The internet thinks we're best friends.
I think we're best friends.
We're best friends. I don't want to say it. We haven't said it. We haven't said it in real life. First time we're saying it. With one of my best friends, Andrew Licout.
Licout, yes.
Okay, thank goodness. Do you want me to say your last name?
I just put it in my bio actually because.
Do you want me to just say Licout? Oh, how to pronounce it?
Yeah.
I thought it was Licout all this time.
Well, I get Licout, I get Licout. Strangely, everyone is like, I thought it was Lil Clout. And that's what bothers me the most.
That would be your rapper name.
You know?
I feel like would you make your rapper name Licout?
Yeah, I mean, I got to stick with it now. But I always say, I'm like, if I would have known, I mean, nobody knows like how big their platform is gonna get. So if I would have known back then, I would have chosen an easier name. But I just chose my last name because I was like, I figure, I didn't want to be found. Mm-hmm. So I didn't put my full name.
Big relate. As I'm like literally putting your full name on this.
Yeah. So now I'm stuck with it. But I like it. It's unique.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is unique. What would my rapper name be?
If I'm Lil Clout,
well, we would have to be some sort of like group, like Young Money situation.
I feel like you'd be like big something, because obviously you're tall.
It's a little Clout, big Rod.
Big Rod. No, not Big Rod. I mean,
this is for Trojan condoms.
I know, right?
I've been trying. People, whenever I'm out and about, and I say, my best friend Andrew, you must have seen him on TikTok. And they're like, oh, I haven't. What is his content like?
First of all, I want to say those are my favorite moments when we're together and someone's like, hey, Rod. And you're like, oh, you must know Andrew. And they're like, no.
I have this thing where if I get recognized and someone around me is also like on TikTok or creates, I get overwhelmed. My anxiety just automatically says introduce the other person too.
Yeah, like you just deflect it.
You're not do you expect me to introduce you like that?
It's happened enough times where I'm like, I know it's coming and I know that they're not gonna know. And so, like,
so you're just you're like every time I get recognized,
they do this look. They do this look where they're like, no. I'm like, yeah.
Okay, so. Sure. Okay, so when someone says, "What's your content like?" How do you describe it yourself?
I obviously will talk about, I feel like we all had something that started us. Yours was corporate work, millennial content. I did a lot of videos relating to kind of mixture of music and comedy. Yes. Where I mainly people say producer videos, and it's
that's what I say.
Yeah, it really boils down to a comedic take on how the song was made. But really what the root of it is I'm making it sound really pretentious, but what the root of it is how we feel when we hear certain songs.
Yeah, that's not pretentious.
And the way for me to the way I wanted to show that was, okay, who was the first person to hear this song in full that didn't know it, maybe, and it's the producer. And so that's where that character came from, was how can I show how I feel, when I hear these certain songs, and maybe it's relatable to someone else. From there, it's really, I have a background in design and I have a background in art. So I tried to expand further into that because we all like posting things that we actually love and enjoy. And so as of now, like, I feel like my, the things that I put out are sort of like, I'm trying to expand it, like a wide range, to include just more about me and my life and the things I enjoy. So I would say it really boils down to music, comedy, if you think it's funny,
which it is,
design, and also relatability, because I find a lot of humor in that, where we can all connect over experiences that we didn't know we shared.
I think music does tie us together in that way, because we were both similar, where you and I were both making videos that would like perform well, or not perform well meaning people engaged with it and like they got high views on TikTok or whatever, But it wasn't until we both kind of tied in music into our videos that we started seeing consistency, I'd say.
Yeah.
Right? Because we were both making videos just about like quarantine, you know, just using different TikTok sounds and stuff, and they're funny and they were doing well. But it wasn't until we started incorporating music that people clicked and related. It's just crazy how much music has a hold on us in that way.
Yeah, and I think music, but also I think what we both landed on was a unique way to tell a story through those songs, you know, and that was kind of where like you hit and I hit was like not just the music, but also taking that music and using it as a vehicle for people to relate to. Not just the song itself, but feelings, nostalgia, things like that really pushed it forward, I think.
And our production levels are a lot different. These are very highly produced, and I'm just sitting at my desk. Well, that's amazing. So I feel like you and I have been kind of on a similar path where we were both working this like corporate-esque world, you know, in different settings.
Yeah.
And now we're both pursuing something creative in a different space, right?
Sure, yeah.
You could say, where we are creating, but also like we're still working and have jobs. But I do want to ask. I asked my followers a question. I thought this would be fun, just because we both have been through it. I asked my followers, do you need some work advice? So if you're up for it, I thought you could give the corporate millennials some work advice. Okay. Even though I don't like my job, this is Elizabeth J. Hudson said, even though I don't like my job, how long should I stick it out before leaving?
Okay, Elizabeth. I have been in this situation where not necessarily didn't like the job, but I didn't see growth, and that was important to me. Was I wanted to be somewhere where I knew there was a next step. But you kind of logic kicks in, and I didn't leave my job until I knew I had something else secured, because for me, the ultimate is like, I'm going to stick this out until I know I have this next thing lined up and I'm going to be okay. Yep. If you can afford to, I couldn't at the time, but I don't know who can.
If you feel like your mental health is like needs it that badly.
Right. Yeah. Or right. You know, and I feel like a lot of companies nowadays, first thing I would do, which maybe Elizabeth is past this point, is pinpoint those things that are making you unhappy at work and talk to the right people who can maybe alleviate some of those things. I've done that too, and it's worked. Where, you know, I went to my manager and I said, listen, I don't think I'm being used in the right way. Like, this is my skill set. This is what I can offer. And these are the places where I can do that. I was like, can you just let me try this way? Because I was at a company that was very stuck in their ways, and they still very much are in their ways of doing things. I was the youngest one by far on my team, and I worked really hard to like introduce new ways of working, like using new technologies as far as design goes. And so something like that, where you take the initiative to try to shift it and change it yourself, can go a long way. But if you feel like that's not happening, you know, just be on, you know, Glassdoor, or just like, you know, start looking for something, but don't rush into and don't jump at the first new position that you find, because a lot of these jobs end up being the same,
and you
in a different font,
get into what you were just going through.
Exactly.
Because I think we are creatures of habit. Like, I think I found myself for a while looking at companies that were more about the environment. Like, exposed brick was eye-catching, you know, and like a pool table. It's like, okay, who cares? You know, that's like, at the end of the day,
it's old very quick.
Am I going to be happy? Like, my last job that I was happy at, it was literally fluorescent lights, and like the only snacks we had were Cheez-Its, but I was the happiest there that I've been at a company, you know. And also just a good thing that I could like disconnect, do 9 to 5. So that was important for me. I just found out today that Gary V, you know, VaynerMedia, Gary V, he has what's called a CHO, which is a Chief Heart Officer, where at first I'm like, okay, it kind of sounds like HR. It's someone who they are there to make their employees happy, to make sure the employees feel happy. But I've noticed that a lot of HR people like work also for the company and, you know, making sure. But this Chief Heart Officer like is there to make sure that truly make sure the employees are happy. So like they don't go and share everyone's business, and all that, which I thought that was really cool to hear as far as just like making sure that your employees.
Yeah.
I've
definitely run into two types of HR people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what you said. There are some HR people who work for the company and then they work for you, and you kind of can like pinpoint that pretty quickly.
I was shocked one time. I was like, went to HR on something, and they're like, "Okay, so I'm gonna go confront that person." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And I'm like, "Oh, I thought it was just you were gonna give me advice." Like, no. I'm like, okay, learn my lesson. I thought this one was good for you because you kind of create your home into a studio, into like a lifestyle.
Yeah.
First time doing work from home. How do you separate work from chores / home life? I have no boundaries.
I was terrible at this, but I've gotten better at it, and it's definitely to have a designated workspace. Because I remember when I was working from home during the pandemic, I'd be like, oh, I'm just gonna chill and work in bed today, or I'm gonna work on the couch. But it was midway through the pandemic, we had a roommate move out, and we turned that room into an office. And that was like a luxury we had. And so I had like a full desk space, and here in New York is kind of hard. And so once I had that designated workspace, that became so much easier because I essentially I will say the nice thing about working in an office is the environments are completely separate. You can leave work at work and go home. So for me, having that designated space that was work, that once I left that room, work was behind me, was really important. As far as like staying motivated throughout the day, that was hard. But what I did find was that I was working a lot more efficiently because, I talked about this with someone the other day. At a 9 to 5, at least the way I was working and most people I talked to, how many of those hours are you actually working?
Yeah.
And I found out that I was getting as much, if not more, work done at home in 4 hours than I was in 8 hours.
I was talking about this with someone today. The amount of coffee walks, in like bathroom, or do you want to go fill up our water together? It's great culture, but it ends up turning into gossip sessions, which creates a toxic work environment. But it's just, that's so true. It's like, how much time are you actually working at the office or catching up with people? And I guess there is a sense of camaraderie, but it's not for everyone.
But I would definitely set times where you're working. I think when you're working from home, it's important to schedule out the day.
Yeah.
Because it can easily get muddled where you're like, oh, I'm going to take a break and watch like some YouTube videos or watch a podcast or whatever.
Or watch a podcast on YouTube.
Yeah, watch podcasts on
like
YouTube.
This one.
Like this one. Maybe that's what's happening right now. Go back to work.
Go back to work.
But no, because it's so easy to mix those things. So if you're like, so I would be like, okay, I'm going to get this, and this done by 10 o'clock. And then I'll go do groceries or something.
Yep.
Because that was kind of the beauty of working at home is now I can do all of those annoying evening activities that you don't want to do when you get home from work. I can do them during the day now and have my evenings free. And so I think you definitely have to be a little bit more deliberate about your time. But I would say the most important thing for me is designated space for work, and not letting that mix with your downtime.
That's important. Designated space, I think, is the most important thing. Especially like it was really hard in my Chicago apartment. Like my bedroom is also my office.
Yeah, that's
because there's like so many people living with me, so it was really hard to separate both. And then my desk just turned into like a storage pile. It's like really frustrating. Okay, that was Human Cat. Thank you, Human Cat with a K. All right, last one here. This is Danielle.Ward asked, I don't like my new job, but I like the pay. What do I do? And I'm excited to hear your answer to this one because I feel like you value, like your values you put over everything else.
Yeah.
Like that you put yourself, like, I don't want to say you put yourself, your limits. So I'm interested to hear.
Yeah. This is a very broad question because there are two things I don't know. here.
Yeah.
I don't know the finances part of it, and I don't know what she doesn't like about the job.
Yeah.
If the job, if the displeasure with the job has to do with morals, or you're not comfortable with something, I'm out. You know, if I can find a job where I'm more comfortable, like morally, or I'm more comfortable just in myself or health wise, and it's, you know, a little less pay, it's worth it. You know, I will say I did at one point give up a job that I was passionate about for I gave up a job that I loved for a job that I liked, because it was more than double the salary. I wasn't making what I needed to even live in New York. And the trade-off to that was I was making more money. I was a little less happy at work, but now I could go out with friends. Now I can go to dinner. Now I can, you know, treat myself to something every now and then. So it is, this is such generic advice, but there's balance in everything. And I think you always, at the end of the day, if you're dreading work and you don't have that thought of, oh, but the pay is worth it, then it's time to go.
Yep.
But if you're like, I can handle it. I know it's work. I know it's whatever. I'm going to like maybe differ from what you assume about me here for a second. I am not in the, I feel like a lot of us, so I went to an art school. You know, I studied design for theater in college. And
Are you thespian?
Am I a thespian? No, I actually do not like going to the theater.
Oh, okay. But you like the set design.
I like the tech part of it. I like the design part of it.
Are any of note to you that you like of the set and you're like, that's like Wicked, or like, you know?
Wicked. I mean, Wicked is great. Wicked's classic. The best show I've seen in New York was I saw 1984 on Broadway, which was like heavy. You know, I like plays. I like heavy, like dramatic, and the design was really well done. So I was taught in college. I was like, you guys are lucky because you're developing a career that you love. You're doing something that you love. For me, how that translated in New York was, people will take advantage of you if they know you're doing something you love.
Yep, it's like kind of the stigma here. It's like, well, you're
getting the experience, you're doing something you love, so you don't have to you're not getting paid as much.
I feel like that's everywhere now too. It's just like there's like certain industries, especially the media or this world that we're stepping into now. There's a process, and you have to like bide your time. You know, it's like it's just crazy.
And so I'm very much of the thought canon that you don't have to love your job. Your job is your job. And your life is your life.
Yep.
Always prioritize your life over your job. I'm very much, I very much think that your work should support your life, not your life should support your work. And so whatever that means to you, like, you know, financially or mentally or health wise, let your life, let me make sure I get this right. Let the lifestyle you want to live dictate your job. Not your job dictate your lifestyle. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I would say there's a huge balance there, but always prioritize your happiness in your life outside of work, and try to avoid making work your life, because I've seen that happen. It's happened to me, and something like the pandemic can happen, and all of a sudden that's gone.
Yep.
I had so many friends who, while we were on furlough, we lost our jobs, they were like, I don't know what my life is outside of this. I've been here for 5-6 years. Those are all my friends. Those are my days. And it's like, it kind of put a lot of things in perspective.
I had a job where I worked 12-hour days.
Insane.
And
absolutely not.
Like there were days, like a Saturday, if I wasn't working, I would go in. It was at a gym, so it was like open all week. I won't say what gym, but you know who you are. But it was, I would go in on a Saturday or even a Sunday sometimes, just because I was like, I needed to be there. You know, it's like there was an addiction.
Comfort, you know?
Yeah, a comfort. It's like, I don't know what to do outside of this.
I used to do that in school, like, because we would, you know, we had projects that, you know, we would work. I would work, you know, 72 hours straight and not sleep. And then when I wasn't working, I felt empty and like I wasn't doing anything. And I would just go chill in the studio and do things that weren't necessary, because I was like, okay, this, I'm filling my time, but really you're not. I mean, it's empty.
That reminds me of have you seen those jokes, those videos about like that one student who comes back to visit the teacher after they graduate or whatever? Because those are the same kids that like spend their entire lives at school, you know, and then like, okay, well, this is my life, so you have this magnetism back to that normal.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's I feel like that's the biggest thing that I've gotten out of the pandemic, out of TikTok, out of this whole experience. I mean, this past year has been absolutely insane. Like, talk about like someone's life doing a 180. It was me, you know.
Yeah, big relate.
I know, and like it's 2021 started off as the literal worst year of my life, and now I consider it, you know, a huge, like, so lucky.
It's wild.
And the biggest thing I got out of that is just, you know, make sure that you are, and it's easier for some people than others. I know some people are more fortunate, but make sure that you're enjoying those parts of your life that you connect with. And I think a lot of people are starting to see that, which is important. I think, I guess the silver lining of these past 2 years is I think people have been able to prioritize better.
Yep, agreed. I think, yeah, that's been huge. Speaking of your life making a complete 180, so we talked about, you do content with some music, you know, who has been your favorite, or the shocking moment of like, oh, this person reposted me, or this person saw my video? Because you do stuff with Drake music, T-Pain, Celine Dion music video.
Let's see.
I'm sure Drake's seen your video.
I mean, I don't know.
It had to have been sent to him.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's more crazy. I won't say it's like a specific person, but it's more crazy to think about the number of people who have seen your face.
I was going to ask you that. What's it like being perceived? Because especially for you, you just have this interesting way of captivating like your creative mind, and I don't want to say aura because that's not who I am, but like this creative aura about you though, like, and you know, like in your videos. So like, it's just, so when people are watching your videos, they're seeing you. It's not like they're like seeing a fake person.
Right.
You know?
I mean, although like a lot of the times like videos, there are like characters and whatnot. What we talked about earlier, we joked about for a second, was production value.
Yeah.
And that's me. That's how I try to put myself in videos, because I do, like, I like things a certain way. My home is a certain way. I dress a certain way. Like my life is very particular, and I shoot things very particularly. And that's why it's hard for me sometimes to, like, working with you is great because we have like, there's an ease about it, you know, but it's like sometimes you try to like work with someone, and this is even past TikTok design work. It's hard because I'm one of those people, you like things a certain way.
Yep.
And I'm glad that comes across in videos. And as far as like being perceived, as far as, you know, you always hope that there is some sort of authenticity when you do meet other people, that they kind of connect you to your videos. Because there's nothing worse than knowing someone, knowing their content, knowing their online persona, and then meeting them, and it just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I'm happy that comes through.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a very, although like I'm putting myself out there on the internet, and I am posting these videos, I'm not a very outgoing, extroverted person. You know, this is kind of like the highest level of volume that I speak at. Yeah. So I hope you can hear me.
It's like people are like, this is an ASMR podcast.
You know, but people usually say this is what I expected, and I'm like, but I also make content about being an introvert and like kind of that balance. I always say I'm introverted, but I'm not shy. I think there's a big difference between
there
those
is a
two
huge
things.
difference. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are, like, see, I'm extroverted, but I'm also shy.
Yeah,
it's just, you can be both. It's crazy. Okay, well, that brings me to my next segment. Gen Z word of the week. We have
Oh.
this. Yeah. So we on the internet floating around. There's all these different words and phrases and emojis that are being used, and we're trying to decipher them and see what they mean. For you, I have one
Okay.
that is not a new word, but it's a word that's being used a lot,
Okay.
and it's
It's being used a lot now.
a lot now.
Okay.
The word is aesthetic.
Okay.
How would you define aesthetic
Okay.
in today's terms, like social media, like online presence, all that?
Okay. I think that okay, so that word gets associated with me a lot.
Yes, and I'll go into that after you define it.
And I think it's being used a lot now as a way to describe someone's look, you know, their overall vibe. But that's the thing is, I think people have made it so, oh, like that's such an aesthetic, you know, as like a good thing. But aesthetics can be bad too. There can be a bad aesthetic. There can it's
Like
it's
a
more
vibe,
it's a blanket term for the
Yeah.
way something looks. It definitely if someone says you have an aesthetic, it's usually positive.
Yep.
But it has had a huge uptick. That and like I feel like aesthetic has sort of been merged with like vibe. Like what's your vibe? What's your aesthetic? Aura? Like all those words kind of
Yeah.
exist in the same realm there.
There's this, I forgot who, my friend Kyle. I was at his place and he had a Polaroid that you can get. I think that you can get it here as well, here in New York, where you get your aura photographed. I think that's so interesting. I'd just be interested to see
What
this.
is, I
So
feel
it's almost like a mood ring. You remember a mood ring? How you put it on, it turns colors.
Oh.
It's like that. But I thought this word aesthetic is so interesting because I think too we crave it. You know, like
yeah.
there's even I don't know if we should talk about this. But we might cut this. Like you and I were at a dinner and these kids were saying words that we didn't even understand. They were talking sentences and I'm just sitting there like, and you're younger than me and you were even like,
I was baffled. But and I remember going we got in the car and I talked about this with someone the other day.
Yeah.
I said I got dinner with, you know, this group of people and some of them were a lot younger. When I say a lot younger, I mean
to me they felt like children.
Like 22, 23. Like that's how old they were. But I was so lost. And I was like that was the first time in my life that I was like, am I fucking old?
Yeah.
Am I like and I'm like looking at I'm like
I've accepted it.
And I'm like
okay,
looking at you, I'm like, do you get I felt so out of touch.
But for them that's their aesthetic, right? And then but also the way that they were talking about other people. I was sitting there wondering, I'm like, just because someone doesn't match their aesthetic, they are irrelevant to that person. That's what a wild way to live life.
Right.
It's like if you don't like, because at one point in your life you're going to be in our shoes where we don't match your aesthetic,
right?
You know, and then.
But what I love about I would say our generation is that.
So you consider yourself a millennial?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that this might I don't know. I don't know Gen Z that well. I don't know but from like the
you look like you do.
The optics of it.
Yeah.
They run in packs. You know, and there's they do like you just said. It's like it's very much. But what I feel like our generation was more. You really like fucked with people and you really clicked with people who weren't similar to you.
Yep.
You know, you and I are a perfect example. Like,
yep, we're very different.
Yeah, we're very, very different. But to me, that's so interesting.
I feel like all of my best friends are completely different than me.
Yeah.
Anyone who's too similar to me, actually, we usually don't vibe. It's
right.
Too like something. It's a blow up happens, or you know something.
Yeah, and there's an ease to it because when I see a group of people who they all read to me as very different. I know each of them is comfortable as an individual to where they don't need people who are similar around them to feel comfortable, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that day I was just like, oh, this is a different species. Like and I've never felt such a gap between the like.
It's like unachievable. Like we couldn't even hang. You know,
no.
It's like usually like usually if someone's talking about sports at a dinner table, I can be like, understand at least a little bit, or just like say a buzzword every once in a while. But I was like, I can't even. I just sat and ate.
I was overwhelmed.
My salad and peas. I was just like, yeah, I was overwhelmed. I was so overwhelmed. Like, wow, the whole day was overwhelming. But like that was just.
It was like being hit by like a Gen Z truck.
Yeah.
I was just like
getting hit by wide leg pants.
I was like, wow. I was like, am I missing something? I was like, when did this happen? It's sort of like NFTs. When did this happen?
When did this happen?
Bitcoin, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, slow down. It was just, yeah. So I thought that I've been thinking about that. It's like I will never be, but here I am wanting to impress that generation. So I'm like, I need to become that aesthetic. But if like I don't,
but that's the thing is like with that generation, aesthetic has such a blanket term where it's not about look. It's about attitude. It's about vibe. It's about, lingo. It's about lingo.
Yeah.
But it's about aesthetic has this much broader sense with them, where I feel like it's like someone's clothing, someone's decor. It's very visual. But now that word has kind of expanded into a much more blanket term, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Completely could not agree more. I do think as well. I've been I had a point here. What's aesthetic? Oh, it's just like interesting we watched with Instagram. Like I was watching one of my friends stress the hell out because her picture that she needed to post ended up not matching the aesthetic for the rest of her page. And I was just like, and I get that. You get that. but like for you, like I mean, you're an architect, you like whatever, furniture, all that. But I just like that's crazy. It's like that's the world that we live in, where it's like aesthetic matter. Like that one picture can throw off everything, which I'm sure there's some sort of analogy.
If you look at right now, if you look at my Instagram, like I've had to hold off on posting videos because I have like a little formula that I do. It's like 2 videos, and then I do like a photograph that I like. It's something a little more my speed. It's not like it's photography based, and so, but all those like line up in the same column, and so that there's a little formula to it. Also, it keeps me organized. So I sort of get that. Maybe that's the bridge, but maybe that's like because I'm a little bit closer to that generation.
Yeah, a little bit more. Andrew, I'm going to play a game called Who Dis. Okay. All right. So what it is going to be people, places, things. It's called Who. I don't know why that's what I called it, but it's many things. And it's just going to be a single photo. Okay. And you have to tell me who, what it is, whatever. And if it makes you just like feel any certain way. Kind of like, those like pictures that like therapists with like,
like a
how
Rorschach.
does it make you feel?
Yeah.
A what?
Rorschach?
Oh, so
Yeah.
The
ink blots.
The ink blots. Okay. Ready? The first one's going to be easy. They progressively get a little more difficult.
Okay. I need to sit up a little bit.
Okay. Here, I can move back.
Okay.
Here, I can actually, I know who it is.
Oh, okay.
Can you see it okay now?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. First one.
Welcome to Go Burger.
Yeah.
Can I take your order?
Can I take your order?
Classic. Keenan and Kel.
Which one is that?
That's Kel.
Okay, it's Kel.
It's Keenan. I mean, I know it's Kel. The only reason I know it's Kel because I know Keenan is. What a different trajectory.
Yeah.
That they went on.
Both of them. It's crazy.
Orange soda.
Orange soda. Kel loves orange soda.
Oh man, I could hear this photo.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I was hoping. Yeah, okay, good.
I can hear this photo.
Next one. Do you know what that is? It's kind of zoomed in.
Yeah, this is
elite after school snack.
Yeah, the M&M Rice Krispie, right?
No.
No?
You ready?
Yeah.
Kudos bar.
I don't know Kudos. Is this before me?
No. What kind of... Okay. Kudos bars were elite after school snack. It was like a granola bar, but it just like held together really nicely like a Rice Krispie.
Mine was the Galaxy brownies.
Yeah, those were good. The Cosmic. Yeah, those were
Cosmic brownies.
Yeah,
Cosmic,
yeah. Great. Yeah, I loved Nutty bars too.
Nutty bars.
Like anything Little Debbie. I want to do a video series that's like what your favorite after school snack said about you.
I used to get in spells of cheese. Like I would eat slices of cheese by
like Kraft American cheese. Yeah. Who didn't?
But like it was like one of those things. You know how some people are like, I go weeks of like just eating straight toast, and then I don't eat toast. I'm that way with cheese and chocolate milk. I just went on a
Chocolate milk?
I just went on a big chocolate milk kick.
You know how I feel about milk. Drinking just straight up milk.
Oh, but chocolate.
I have another theory on that.
Okay.
I don't want to ruin my next video.
Oh, cat dog.
Yeah, cat dog.
Dude, I love cat dog.
And alone in the morning, little cat dog.
Also, I don't remember. Was there an origin story here
I think they had one video of an origin story.
of how it
But
happened?
they probably a lot of cartoons back then ended up being very inappropriate. But I feel like they probably filmed like the parents, you know, but obviously they were conceived as a cat and a dog, so it's given that.
Do you want to hear quickly?
Yeah.
This is about two animals being stuck together. So
Great.
this is when I was a child. I almost told this story the other night at Alyssa's show. When I was like 8, we had 2 dogs. We had a male and a female dog, and my parents were trying to breed them. My parents aren't breeders. I mean, they are because I'm here, but you know what I mean. They're not dog breeders. They're not dog breeders.
But why were they trying to breed them?
They wanted to have puppies.
Oh,
they wanted they wanted to have puppies. And they like friends of ours wanted. And so one day I was homesick from school. I was by myself, and I heard my dog just like absolutely crying, squealing, and I was like, "What is going on?" And so I went up to them, and they were like standing back to back, right? I'm like, "That's real weird. I've never." And then one of my dogs was like hyperventilating, and I was like, what is going on here? And so I went to pick her up, and I picked her up, and the male dog came with her. And then I was like, they were stuck together, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? And I start like crying because I'm like, I don't know what's going on, because the dog's crying, I'm crying, and I'm like calling my mom, and I'm like, I was like, the dogs are stuck together, and she was, and obviously she knew what was going on, and she was like, just stand there. Like,
because
they were making puppies, you know.
Yep.
And I had no idea what was going on. And she's like, just put your hands on them, like comfort them, like it'll be okay. She was like, just don't move them again. And I was like, and now I think about it, I'm like mortified. I was like, the terror like those dogs were having an enjoyable experience. And
just like, they weren't crying. They weren't maybe crying. Who knows how good it was. Speaking of dogs and this, I threw out Erica and Scott, Courage the Cowardly Dog. Remember that one?
Yes.
I think it was Erica and Scott. One of my other guests. Terrifying cartoon.
Yes.
Okay. You know the show,
Stephanie.
at least?
Not Stephanie. It's Full House.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is Full House.
She's the neighbor.
Mm-hmm. She's a neighbor.
Debbie.
Close.
Oh,
Kimmy.
Deborah. Oh, Kimmy.
Kimmy
Yes.
Gibbler.
And she had a crush. Did she have a crush on
Uncle Jesse?
Uncle Jesse? Everyone had a crush on Uncle Jesse.
Did you did?
No, but I'm saying everyone in the show.
Yeah, in the show. Yeah, man. Well, I hope not, because all his family besides her.
Oh, that's true.
Everyone had a crush. Like, well,
I'm saying everyone who watched this.
Yeah. No, Lori, because he's married to Lori Loughlin in the show. She's under.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one.
Sean Paul.
You know, good. I don't even know if I would have picked that out.
Really?
Sean Paul, yeah.
Easy.
Do you like when his songs came out, did you know his lyrics? Like, could you listen to it and understand?
Sean Paul in session. My brother, so this is funny. So it was the first CD me and my brother got was, I forget the name of the album. It's the red one. Mm-hmm. And it was
is it called Temperature? Is that?
No, because Temperature came out later. This was before Temperature.
This is like when he was just reggaeton.
This was, so he was doing.
Is he reggaeton? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, he so it was the first CD we got. This was probably like 2003. So I'm 9 years old, and Sean Paul was all we listened to all the time.
I love that.
And I loved him because him and Shakira always say their name in their song. Always. And I would always, every single track I always listen for when he's going to be like, Sean Paul, you know? And I'm just, that was a really bad impression, but love Sean Paul.
I forgot Dotier. Yeah, it's funny because who else? Like Pitbull named his Akon.
Yeah.
He put his name in everything. Jason Derulo, obviously.
Yeah.
Did I tell you my Jason Derulo story?
No.
My friend used to work at Macy's and in Chicago. This was like 2008. And she was just like working in her department. She worked in like men's suiting. and she heard this guy singing in the mirror and dancing in the mirror, and this was like before he was big. And then she's like, yeah, I'm so weird. He just kept singing his name over and over, and that was before we're like, who is this guy? And then a year later, he started blowing up. She goes, that was him, because like he was like literally singing his name, looking right in the mirror.
That's so. But that's the thing is like you see people like that, and in the moment you're like, oh, they're insane, you know. And then
look at him
now.
He is also insane, but his TikToks make me cringe on a whole other
isn't
level.
it crazy? I think it's so. Sometimes I think about how powerful a platform, like the amount of careers that it has revived, based on or created based on one song or based on one trend.
Friend Lance Bass, but he like has just he's so smart. He's a brilliant businessman. He's been doing all these other things, but he has tapped in a little bit into his NSYNC past and stuff, and people love it. He's bringing joy, which I'm sure Jason Derulo does the same thing.
And it's revived, but it's also like Doja Cat.
Created.
But now she's like the biggest star.
Even Megan, wasn't Megan Thee Stallion kind of a product of TikTok?
Oh, I don't know.
I think she was too. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, Andrew, where can people find you? Where do you want them to find you? Where do you want them to stay away from? Stay away from his apartment.
TikTok, obviously. I need some more. I need some more male followers.
Yeah. Oh my God, I have 90% female followers.
Oh, really? Oh, that's more than mine.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
Mine's I think 75, 75. But
more female. Okay,
more
okay.
female.
Yeah.
Oh wait, yours is
90% female, 10% male.
Licout Licout on TikTok, Licout on Instagram, which is really annoying. But the person who has Licout, I don't know who they are, and my family's the only family with that last name. And she has no posts. And I'm like, I gotta reach out to her.
Maybe someone's blackmailing you. Do you know the amount of times, because my TikTok handle is @Rod, but my Instagram is just me.Rod. You know, the amount of times people tag @Rod like big meme accounts and all of this, and this @Rod guy is just getting free clout. He's not even doing anything. He posts
he should lean into it.
He posts like car pictures. Like he's that kind of.
If he was creative, he would lean into it.
Yeah.
He would do like he'd make like a parody or like a He'd be like an off-brand Rod.
Yeah, maybe he like doesn't have anxiety.
Yeah. he's like, oh, fine.
Yeah, he's like, I can say whatever I want. Okay, well, Andrew, thanks so much. You'll be on again, probably the next one, to be honest. So.
Let's do it.
All right. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you have any questions for Andrew or any other segments that we missed. Comment below, and please don't give a thumbs down. Thank you.